Hey, Eventual Millionaire. Today we're doing something a little bit different. I have a recording from Derek Coburn from my Millionaire Insider series. So we actually go and dive in and find out what he specifically does, especially for email introductions. He gives us a template. He actually wrote the book called Networking is Not Working, which I adore. And he goes through step by step how we can create systems within our email so it's not the crazy time suck that I know it is for you. So make sure you stay tuned. Welcome to Millionaire Insiders. I'm Jamie Tardy and I have Derek back on the show. I'm super excited. We're going to be talking a lot about introductions, networking, connections, and how the heck you do it right. Because I know there's a few of you that either are scared to do it because they don't know how, or they're doing it wrong and not even realizing. So thanks so much for coming on the show today, Derek.
Thanks for having me, Jamie.
So let's go over this. You mentioned in the last interview, and I was really excited. You're like, I have templates. And as soon as anybody says the word templates, I'm like, okay, I want to know what those are. And I feel like this is a better form to be able to go through them all. So tell us what you've learned over years and years of like the right way to do this. Are there specific templates you have for specific things? Like, give me the rundown.
Yeah, so I have templates for making these introductions and or asking people to bring someone to an event or make refer someone to me and to my business. I recently have been building up my template library for different ways to say no to different things. I have, I think, 20 different emails. And I got the idea from Michael Hyatt. He wrote a blog post that it was like, here's some of the email templates I use for saying no. And especially like with my book coming out now, it's like, hey, here's this introduction and you guys should talk. And even if it sounds like somebody I really want to talk to, it's like I don't have time to do it before my book comes out. So then I can just pull up a template and just say, hey, I'm working on my book right now. And so whether it's a request to meet with me, a request to learn more about Cadre, I could say, I'd love to chat with you, but first I want to make sure you go to the website first. That clearly highlights who we're a good fit for, who we're not a good fit for. If you get to the bottom of that description of our business model and still feel like it's a good fit for you, use the form at the bottom and we'll schedule a 15-minute phone call.
Oh, right? Okay. Are you selling these templates? My gosh, I want all of your templates.
I'll give them to you.
I'm so excited. So because that's the thing, that sometimes I don't feel like I have enough time to do. I know how important this stuff is. Or Michael Hyatt's saying no. Because I have to say no. And I write a freaking new one every time. Not that I don't use canned responses in Gmail and all that other stuff. But having other people's templates that really do it in a really nice way. Like if you were somebody that I wouldn't necessarily want your templates, right? But being able to be really tactful and awesome is huge. So let's go over one of them, especially the introduction one right now, because again, people do this wrong all the time. How do you make a really good introduction?
All right. So I like to qualify that it's a good use of someone's time and do that with both parties involved so that it's very rarely going to be one-sided in terms of benefit. And I want to get buy-in. Here's why I'm thinking about introducing you to this person, the same thing for the other person. And then believe it or not, that actually makes it easier in some cases to make the introduction because then you don't have to go into a lot of detail. You can just say, I've already filled each of you in on why I think you should talk. Please connect, keep me in the loop, let me know if you think I can help. So then it does not seem as burdensome when it's time to actually send that connecting email.
Oh, so you do that. So sometimes I do that and sometimes I don't. So do you always do that where you check in with both of them just to make sure that they want the referral in advance?
Yeah, because even so, I'll give you an example. I've been trying to connect Chris Brogan with Adam Grant. Do you know who Adam is?
No.
So Adam is a professor at Wharton, and he wrote a book last year called Give and Take, which I think was on the New York Times bestseller list for 5 months. And those two would have a lot of great stuff to talk about, and I was surprised to hear that they didn't know each other already. and they both seem like it seemed like for both of them now is not a great time. Adam is on book tour promoting the paperback version of his book. Chris just came out with his book, Freak Show and Here at the Earth, which is amazing, by the way, and is focused on that. So then I, schedule a reminder for myself 30 days out that I'll circle back to see if it's still a good fit. But there wasn't any urgency there, and it wasn't necessarily something that had to be done. So I checked with them and they said, yeah, if you could wait, that'd be great.
That is awesome though, because normally what you do would be like, oh, you two people should meet, and then they start to feel bad that it's going to have to be 30 days out or more on when they can actually meet, and so it's sort of almost a burden to them. And what you're doing is taking the burden off of them and not, really paying attention to what they want and need, which is awesome. Okay.
Well, you know this as somebody that just came out with a book, and I don't expect anyone to feel sorry for me if I'm getting introductions to people that could potentially help me. But if I get one of those introductions in the next week before my book comes out, it's going to make me look bad because I'm probably not going to be able to respond to that person, or at least not in a way that I would under normal circumstances. So, when you're connecting people and you are being a connector is something that is important to you. It's important to me. It's important to you. People like us, we want to make sure that we are setting people up in a way that's going to make them look good and benefit them.
So how do you talk about, when you talk about like the email that you're sending to the person about like, these are the reasons why you should talk to them? Because sometimes like in the Chris Brogan and Adam Grant, like they could just be really good friends. They might not do business. They may or may not. I love connecting people that could be really good friends. Like, how come you don't know each other? You totally should. But how do you, validate that? Like, hey, you should know him because he's really cool. Right? Or how do you write those emails?
Yeah, like in that instance, I mean, Adam Grant reviewed read an advanced copy of my book and gave me a great blurb. And Chris wrote the foreword for my book. And so Adam said, I have so many friends in common with Chris and we've never met. It might be interesting to meet him. So in that case, in that scenario, he told me. But I found that that there's a lot of value in connecting people that oftentimes we think two people already know each other, right? Like we've been on each other's radar indirectly for the past year. I was talking about you on John Dumas's podcast, because he was talking about his coach, and I love the story. I didn't know who you were at that point. I just knew I loved your approach to business. But Ian's the one who made the connection. There are a lot of people who could have made that connection, but Ian gets the credit for it. Not that we're keeping score,
yeah.
But I think a lot of times, we assume people know each other,
yeah.
when in reality, we can add value and be the person that made it happen for people. When a lot of other people just assume like, oh, they probably already know each other.
Well, and when I was chatting with Ian, I was actually meeting with Ian in person in San Antonio, and he's like, I'm going to write the email right now. And so the email, I think, said, hey, meet Derek, or something like it's one sentence or something like that. And of course, I was so busy, it took me a couple of days to get back. But it's so funny how like you're there. He's like, you should definitely know. And you probably didn't even know like who that guy. Well, maybe you did beforehand. But it's funny that he can write a quick, really simple email and then have us connect without any problem at all. And now we don't need him anymore for the connection, which is really cool.
But I love Ian, and if not for that email, we would not be talking right now. But that was not a great email from my perspective.
Me neither.
As somebody that's got a book coming out in a couple of weeks, and you are so busy doing everything that you're doing, that I had to respond and say, like, who is this person? And like, why am I supposed to talk to them? And, and so
that's why Ian's not talking about how to do introductions here.
Right, exactly. So, and Ian's a great friend, and
Totally.
He's like the best sales consultant I've ever encountered. And so I'm just giving him a hard time. And again, if he hadn't done it, in a lot of cases, many people just sit here and say, I need to make this introduction. It never happens. So certainly what Ian did is way better than doing nothing at all.
Well, but and that's the problem that I have though. So I'll write like, oh, introduce so-and-so to so-and-so, and then it sits there for a while. So that's sort of, that's probably why the templates are so good. I think that's why I'm so excited. Because if I can just I have my phone here, by the way. I'm going like, if I can just bring up a template and I can do it in 2 minutes while I'm thinking about it and when I'm there, that's huge comparatively to go, now I have to write an email and hopefully remember, like I had a huge list of them, and not doing the intros or saying that you're going to do one and not doing one is bad, right? Yep. How do you deal with that? Because I'm sure you're dealing with that all the time, doing intros.
Yeah, so under normal circumstances, when I'm not getting ready to come out with this book, because I've been bad lately, as I mentioned to you earlier, but I'm usually pretty good about it because connecting people it's like it's my juice. It's how I get my rocks off. Like I love making connections that are going to benefit people who are important to me. And I notice if I am ever in a bit of a funk, or if I'm ever just kind of blah when it comes to working or doing business during business hours, that if I make a couple of these connections, I automatically feel better.
It's
If
insane. You
Yeah.
fuel yourself and you're helping other people. That's like not the best life that you could ever have, right? Like,
Yeah,
yay.
yeah, no.
What we get to do is just insane and awesome. I know we have to start wrapping up, so I really, really appreciate it. Tell us more about when your book comes out and how we can get it and all that fun stuff.
So it's going to be out around the first week of May. Networking is not working. Stop collecting business cards. Start making meaningful connections. And what did you say? Tell me where.
Tell me
Tell
where
me.
to, yeah, tell us where to get it.
All right. So derekcoburn.com/book. If depending on when they go there, they can get a free chapter, and it'll point them where they can go to make the purchase. And then I'm on Twitter at cadredc.com.
Nice. And I love how your stuff is really fresh and new, and like what Seth Godin's a thought leader and he's talking about this stuff, and you're riding right up front with everybody, and I think it's awesome. So giving people right now what they need, not like reading books from the 1980s going, this is how we connect, total different world now. So I hope everyone checks it out. Thanks so much for coming on the show today, Derek. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so much, Jamie.
I hope you enjoyed that interview with Derek. It was awesome. So if you want that action guide and the templates like we mentioned, just go to eventualmillionaire.com/Derek, DEREK. And you can check out more training videos from him specifically at networklikeA.pro. It's a really cool URL. So it's a .pro, so networklikeA.pro. So check that out so you can get more training videos specifically from him, because he is an amazing networker. Now, I hope you have a fantastic day and take care. Bye.